Welcome, folks. I'm Coach Jeremy, and you are joining us for our pre-Thanksgiving Coaches Connect call. We have a lovely group of coaches assembled here. We were just talking. We were talking turkey in the chat box, and we were talking general holiday guidelines that we ascribe for our clients, as well as kind of like how do we roll ourselves. And Anne Marie was sharing their experience. How do they navigate the holidays, as well as for clients? And Anne Marie, if this feels accurate to what you're saying, it sounds like you were saying you have a discussion with your clients and or help them to kind of further illuminate the things that they want to be a priority for them during those meals or during those time periods. So what is important to you? What are some likely outcomes? And then a little bit further down would be kind of how do we know if we've hit those uh, in the meal and then after? Does that sound correct?
Yes, absolutely. I like them to make their own decision based on what their goals are and what they could, what they're okay with after the fact. Just think through the process.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Uh, so those are the conversations that kind of happened before. What does the postmortem of that conversation normally sound like for you?
For
So you're
me,
coming back after the holidays,
yeah,
checking with the client and just asking, "Hey, how did it go?"
yeah. After after the fact, we walk through, what their experience was. Sometimes they go in thinking that they're going to stay on track and then they kind of deviate and they fall into the temptation. And, we talk about how they did what they were expecting to do, what they actually did, and how are they feeling after emotionally with their experience. And then how we're going to pick it back up and continue on with their journey. I mean, it's always going to be a journey. So this is just one little part of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of coaches would likely have a similar outcome as you as well. And there's, I mean, only limited outcomes that can happen in here. So, like you, I take kind of that similar approach where we talk about uh, what do you want to happen in this meal? What would a pleasing outcome look like to you here? So you enter this space. Uh, we're talking about the things that you consume, so food and drink, not only related to kind of that singular meal. Uh, One thing I add in there is kind of like, are there any conversations that you're anticipating or any conversations that you're concerned about based on previous experience in this meal? So let's say every year I go to kind of like the family Thanksgiving, or I go to family this family gathering, and then I have that one family member that will kind of like push my buttons a little bit more. So that is a conversation that we may explore a little bit more as well. We talk about kind of how do you want to feel entering that space, and then how do you want to feel kind of leaving that space as well. And then what would a successful outcome look like when we touch base in our next conversation? What do you want to tell me that would happen? I found that this kind of makes it as clear as possible for clients to really understand that, okay, now I realize what I need to do in order to have this outcome, and uh, what I want to share with my coach as well. So we cover a little bit of a broad spectrum there. As you mentioned, it's like there's going to be a handful of clients who come back, and for them it is excellent. Did all the things I wanted to do. What's next, coach? There's another subset that I think is worth a deeper conversation, and that's the folks who, after they come back from this meal, it sounds like they have a little bit more regret. And I think a useful conversation as coaches is like, how do we help them manage those kinds of more complex feelings around that meal? Uh, I'll open it up to both you and Vicky here. Maybe you've had clients who've kind of worked through some of that stuff where it's like the outcome that I wanted from this event uh, wasn't pleasing to me. How do we move forward? And
Well,
of course, other for coaches who are also on this call here, feel free to pop into the chat box or put your hand up, and then we'll come around as well. Because I think at the heart of coaching, there's going to be a lot of this conversation over the next 7 to 14 days. So let's make sure you're prepared for it.
yeah, so I'm going to hold back and listen to you guys because I am just very new to the program. So I have my own
Mhm,
program that I did prior to that, but I'm not really coaching anyone under this particular model yet. So I'm
mhm.
on like chapter 8 of the first certification right now. So I think
Gotcha.
I'm gonna hold back and listen. I do have clients that I coach in another program, but I'm kind of like in the transition part right now. So.
Uh, I would be interested in hearing how you utilize your other skill set if you're comfortable sharing on that front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, well, the other program
If
that,
any of the conversations cross over, at least.
yeah, so again, I think that everyone has to make their own decision. The other program that I coach right now is a very structured program. It doesn't have a lot of flexibility. So it's kind of like
Mhm.
100% on or you're off. So there's not a lot of wiggle room of like making the like balanced decisions and moderation and other choices that we have here. Um, so for those clients, it's a little bit different. Like they feel um, like they either have to stick on 100% or not. So there's a lot more emotion attached to that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like more open-minded in this program, and I like it because it's
Mhm.
more balanced and a lot more whole foods. We use a lot of meal replacements, so it's like very different and very
Mhm.
structured, and I'm trying to kind of move away from that so that I
Gotcha.
can be able to coach people on all different kinds of programs and all whole food plans. So I'm kind of
Mhm.
like in a very big transition myself, like just switching over to that. So for my clients, I feel like right now they they have a harder time because they feel like if they don't stick to it, it's almost like a fail. And we have to move away from that because we don't ever want them to feel
Mhm.
defeated or have that guilt or resent or, regret what the day was like. So it's a different, we really have to prepare them and talk more emotionally about that. They don't have that kind of
Mhm.
flexibility as much. Where here, I think we have a lot more options and it's much more relaxed. And I like the
Mhm.
whole like the mindful eating and all the other steps that we put in here that change, not just focusing on the food itself, but how we're eating, when we're eating, and the timing and all those different things that I'm learning right now is great. So I'm enjoying that very much. So I feel like my clients are in a different space, the ones I coach now, and I think going forward is going to be a very much different.
Mhm. Uh, One, I'm super glad to hear that you're able to kind of uh, objectively assess where your current skills are in terms of, hey, this is how I currently operate, but also notice and key in that this might not be serving all of my clients super well. And you did the hard work of looking out to see, hey, what else is around? What other support can I get for them? What other education can I participate in to offer a service that I believe would have a deeper impact? So that is fantastic to see.
Yeah, yeah. And I think once they come off that very structured program, they need to transition into all whole foods again. And I think knowing this program will be able to help them a little bit better than I have in the past.
Excellent. That is super cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Vicky, I saw you pop some stuff in the chat box. Uh, how has that conversation gone for you in the past?
The conversation about not that it's just been one day. It's something I
Yeah,
remind
essentially, where it's
myself
like
too.
I didn't hit it the way that I wanted to. I
Yeah.
didn't
Okay. The
experience
after.
kind of the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
holiday that I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, if it's a scheduled call with my client, I definitely like to start that way. It's like, what went well, and it kind of, because I think they go into the call expecting to like get reprimanded, or especially Anne Marie will talk about her other coaching approach. Like they'll expect to be reprimanded, but so that's why I like to focus on the
Mhm.
positive first. Like what went really well. The family didn't have a food fight, I mean, whatever that is. I got to
Right.
work out in the morning. So focus on the positive first. And then if there was things that didn't go well, we can back that up and say, and think about it. Well, why do you think that happened? I mean, and it will happen, right? So let's
Mhm.
prepare for next time. So, it gives us data, not judgment, but data for the next time this occurs. So I mean, holidays are challenging, but they're also great opportunities to look at things, right? Because life happens, whether it's a holiday, whether it's stress, whether it's all that. So it's definitely good to look at as opportunities for our clients and for us.
100%. I mean, I think that's a very comprehensive overview as well in terms of uh, what we're looking at from the perspective of it's the holiday season, but it's like if you have a fairly full social calendar, the holiday season, does it ever really end? Just like the holidays themselves have different fare at them, but there's birthday parties, there's weddings, there's other social events that are going to challenge the way that you would normally do things. So it's certainly a worthwhile call out that yes, this is a skill set that we're applying in this context, in a very turkey focused context, but we're going to utilize it in different spaces as well. So anything that we can learn from here is useful.
Well, one thing we could learn is from the Canadians who space these holidays out a little better. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I've said this on a call related to this, either in October or in a previous November. But I think we used to have the same Thanksgiving, both America and Canada. I think it switched for, I cannot remember what reason, but one of us moved away. I think it was you guys. I think you guys left us on this one, but that's okay. We're not gonna hold it against you too much. Uh, and I do like the idea of trying to get all your eating in during like the coldest, darkest part of the month. There's something very comforting about that, except that that is not how modern society exists. And we have so many things to celebrate all the time.
That's a really good point. Because I'm finding, I don't know about other people or their clients, but I'm finding I'm hungrier this last week because our temperatures have dropped. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that's more mindset or if it's like physically I'm more hungry now.
I think it is certainly something where it's like our daylight cycle changing does impact our eating behavior. If you've taken our SSR course, we speak about it slightly in the chronobiology section, where we're talking about. I can't remember which specific section it pops up in, but I remember we talked about chronobiology a little bit. There is a theory. I don't know how well it's been established in humans. Like it obviously exists in other mammalian species where they hibernate, things like that. Uh, that suggests that we also have kind of like seasonal fluctuations in some of our behaviors. If having like living in northern latitudes where daylight cycles change a whole bunch, food availability changes a whole bunch, and we've had that for hundreds of thousands of years, it would make sense that over time we may adapt to some of those cycles as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. And for myself, I'm trying to make sure I get in enough calories during the day because that's sort of a flaw of mine anyway. But feeling it myself makes me want to think, I wonder if my clients are feeling that too. And maybe that's something we should discuss as the days get shorter, shorter but
Mhm.
colder. Yeah.
Yep, I'm just looking in the chat box here. And I'm guessing just by the way that you normally show up to the calls, you look like you're in something a little bit like a warmer, more tropical place, but I could be wrong.
Yes, we're in
Temp's a
Palm
little lighter.
Desert. Yeah, we're in Palm Desert, Southern California. So it gets, I mean, this last year was extraordinary. We had a lot of days. I think they said 80 days over 110 or 100, I don't know. It was extraordinary. Um, but yeah, but every winter I just noticed that, so I don't even panic that much in the summertime when my weight starts to elevate. And then in the wintertime, I really lean into leaning up because that's when my body seems to welcome that change.
That is interesting. Yeah, trying to note those influences that we may not be as acutely aware of, uh, and either lean into them and utilize them to our benefit, or ask ourselves, how much do I want to push against this? If I notice that there's a strong pattern here, and historically this is the way things have gone, maybe I just utilize that and say, hey, throughout the winter, I focus my efforts somewhere else, and then come spring, summer, I return to a more set pattern because that's just kind of what works for me.
Interesting. Yeah. Thank you. That's so funny.
Yeah,
Vicky
no
says it's
worries.
the opposite for her. Yeah, it's very strange.
Uh, yeah, so Vicky, I think you provided like a really useful summary for us here. Understanding the idea that uh, a lot of coaching, especially a lot of coaching conversations around this time of year, are going to be uh, breaking down and having that postmortem of how did that specific meal go, and then utilizing a couple of key things that you shared. So one, being able to zoom out and say, hey, this is one meal here, and the good news is you have a lot of uh, opportunity to practice again. Your life is full and complex, and there's a lot of celebration. So hopefully, you're going to have another opportunity to practice quite soon. Uh, Also, zooming away from just the specific eating element of it, it's like, hey, what are some other things that went well during this time period? Is there anything that you feel positive about? drawing those positives means that likely that person will be more likely to want to continue that conversation. And then that gives them areas where they can feel like this was not a complete wash or a failure. And it's like, I want to continue to work on this skill. Because as Anne Marie said as well, when folks feel like they're off something 100% or they feel like very disconnected from their practice, it's hard to want to continue, and it becomes more desirable to want to jump ship and try a different thing. So being able to kind of steer them away from that outcome and let them know, hey, this was not a complete disaster. Some things went well here. Let's celebrate those things. And then any specific elements that they learn from those eating behaviors that they could parse out in terms of how do I want to feel, what may have changed my actions or behaviors here, and then kind of solutioning for next time, asking the question, what can I do next time so that I have a slightly more positive outcome? Not that we 100% kill it next time, but I move in the direction that makes me feel better about this. Again, reiterating the idea that this is a reiterative process, and we do a little bit better each time. Coaches who are also here, we've heard from a couple. Anyone else have these conversations that you've been managing either recently or conversations that you've held over the past? How are you looking forward to having these conversations with your clients? Quiet crew today.
Yeah, I'm just gonna unmute. I think a lot of people here tend to play the "I'm so busy" card, and I don't know if that's I'm so busy period or I'm so busy too busy for you or what, but I just okay, you do that.
Is that in regards to like conversations that you're having with clients, Anna? Is that I'm so busy during the meal, I'm so busy to like during the whole experience, like I'm running around, I'm a caregiver, I'm party planner, I'm head chef. Is that what you're experiencing, or
It,
did you mean that in a different way?
they're just tend to be too busy for themselves. Like I'll take care of myself when I'm not so busy. I'll
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the self-care takes the back seat.
Is this for clients who are already engaged with working with you?
Yes.
That's interesting. So it's like they're too busy to do the thing, but they're still finding value in working with you, in continuing to have these conversations with you.
Yes. They just don't want to do anything
Hmm.
about anything. It's like the action
So,
taking is the challenge.
so how do you navigate that?
I used to really ask them, when are you going to have time for you, and what do you think's gonna what do you think the impacts will be? And now I just say, okay, I'm here when you're ready. I'm right here. And then I'll just check in with them and say, how is it working? I'm over here. So I,
Yeah,
I find that
Gotcha.
people push, yeah, I don't want to push people away or create resistance.
yeah. I had a conversation with a client just this week, similar thing about, I mean, especially the holiday, like she missed a couple of workouts because she spent all day shopping and cleaning because people were coming. And so we had that conversation about, that what is, I'm trying to think of P and terminology. I mean, I just repeated that, obviously your family is very important to you, that is something that you very value, but how can we find time for Kelly too, or sorry, someone, never mind name. How can we find how can we find time for clients too? How can we fit that in? Because
Yeah.
you're going to show up as your best self if you're taking care of yourself too. So we look for opportunities. Yeah. And
Great reflection.
yeah, and then reflection, that's the word, thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just like it is going to be harder this time of year for sure. So
Hmm.
just having a schedule, having systems in place to to make working out and taking care of yourself easier. So just helping them find those opportunities was the conversation. So yeah, but yeah, too busy for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and
and I
there's some
mean,
people who that wear that badge all day long, all year long, and I think it's uh, I think it's
They have to
them.
find the value themselves, Anna. They have to find the value of like, okay, but when I take the time, you know,
Right.
yeah, yep,
It's their habit is to deprioritize self-care.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hard to learn that self-care, self-compassion thing. It's a hard lesson.
It is. It is. Until you get hit by the proverbial 2x4. Ouch. Okay.
It looks very much like Anna.
so then I'm curious to know, is there a part of the conversation here where, uh, as we learn in PN coaching, when we have a client who essentially what you're explaining here is kind of overwhelmed, this client has perceived that their schedule is too full to do anything, which is not inherently true, seeing as I asked the question, Anna, are they working with you here? Like, are they still paying you to work with you? If they're doing that, they're finding some time and resource to devote towards their health and wellness. Uh, they're just not taking action at a level that is yielding a result that they find appreciable. So aside from that, it sounds like, yeah, they've at least earmarked this sum of money to pay you and these calls that they show up at, or however you're supporting them and interacting with them. They have time to do that, which is great.
Hmm.
But they're overwhelmed. What do we do in that scenario?
Interesting. Well, I would definitely think highlighting those points that you've made, um, that they have earmarked those funds and they have made the decision to continue working and try to build them up from there.
100%.
So,
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Vicky.
well, so another thing, because I coach health and nutrition, but also cycling, and so when they're missing workouts, I'm well aware of them working their missing their workouts, but um, having bare ass minimums or BAMs, or I'm not sure the term, the PN term, but yeah, just having like so we came up with three a week, like get these three in, and you've given your coach everything you owe her, right? But yeah, because I feel like, and they keep saying, "Oh, but I want more. I want more." I'm like, okay, do more, but give me these three. And if they're only doing two, okay, then how do we get the three? You know what I mean? So just having when we know it's going to be busy, because that doesn't address people who say they're busy year round, but it does address the holidays being a little extra busy. So what's the minimum we can do to still take care of ourselves this time of year? So yeah.
Like
Yep.
that.
So, I mean, that is at the heart of it when we face a client who is demonstrating kind of that overwhelm and ambivalence, is understanding that, hey, let's renegotiate kind of what actions are on the agenda for you right now. Let's shrink it down to something that becomes the way that I think of it. It's like it's so small it'd be silly for me not to do it. Uh, I think of it in terms of complexity. Like it's so simple a monkey could do it. Although monkeys are very complex creatures, but we're not going to get into that right now. But yeah, having that kind of approach where it's like we've already qualified that it's like you're here, we're having this conversation, you're clearly capable of doing something. This is our way of pointing out that you have a history of success because clearly you're able to make this appointment more often than not. You are paying me for my services. You are a capable human. We can use a whole bunch of areas of their life that we pull from. It's like if you're a caregiver, you're keeping these people fed and clothed and housed. You're very capable in many areas of your life. The thing that you're struggling with right now is taking action for yourself. Let's just shrink those actions. As mentioned previously, Vicky used the term BAMs. I think it should be bare ass minimums. I think we're all adults here. It's fine. that is our attempt to kind of shrink things down in the face of perceived overwhelm. Uh, Vicky works with cyclists who are doing specific workouts because I assume that they're competing or they're training for specific events. It's going to be harder to complete those events if you're missing workouts. Like very few people run a marathon but do like really half-ass training beforehand. Most of those people are not going to have a good time. But for the average person who's looking to improve their health and wellness, we actually require far less action on a regular basis than most people will think in order to see further improvement. Especially if we kind of adopt the idea that just doing the action, regardless of any specific outcome, is valuable. So if I go for a 30-minute walk every day after dinner, and my goal is to lose 10 pounds, and after the course of 6 months, I haven't lost any weight, it could very easily feel like, oh, that 30-minute walk was useless. But if we see the value in that 30-minute walk helps me connect with my partner, it helps me to get outside, it helps me to see my neighbors in my neighborhood. The value that I kind of ascribe to it is far greater than just this one very narrow outcome that I'm looking for. So in this moment where we're talking about kind of holidays, first thing that we can do is certainly ask our clients, hey, what are some BAMs that you want to focus on here? You note that you are very busy. I agree. You sound busy as hell. You're cooking everything. You have people coming to stay. You have kids coming in from out of state. You have your elderly parents that you're also trying to make plans for. You're trying to get them from the airport to your home. These are all things that's like, it's very valid. You are incredibly busy. What can we do to scale back? That is definitely a useful conversation that we should be having with clients in this time period. It probably applies to all time periods, but here it's one that definitely will come up a little bit more. Secondly, from here, in terms of what additional conversations we're having, if we have someone who's super busy, can we ask them to potentially, and I say this potentially, definitely with an asterisk next to it, delegate some of those tasks. As Anna mentioned, some people will wear busyness as a badge of honor, and the idea of delegating tasks to them becomes incredibly distasteful because it will negatively impact the way that they see themselves. If I'm always busy and doing for others, that is kind of who I am. And then if I ask others to help me, then I can't kind of wear that badge anymore. Whereas it could just be useful to say, hey, instead of doing a 10-course dinner this year, maybe dessert you buy from somewhere else, or you ask someone else to help you with it. Instead of kind of shuttling everyone around, maybe let Uber do that one for you to buy back some time. Is that a valuable proposition for you? So understand that it may influence, or people may be hesitant or resistant to it because there's an element of identity involved in it, but it is certainly worthwhile as a conversation to have, to ask them investment wise, dollar for unit of time, is it worthwhile to kind of delegate some of the lower value tasks? Anna.
That's interesting. That's what I suggested for my friend who she always gets asked to make a cake because she's really good at it. She's also a full-time architect. Mm-hmm. And so it'll take her all weekend, the entire weekend, and then she's exhausted during the week. And so ultimately what we did was now she calls it faking a cake. So she will go buy the cake and then she does the decorating. So she scrapes off whatever they did. And it's beautiful. And she said, you'd be so proud of me. I faked a cake. and she still gets to have the fun. So I love that for her. It's so good. Yeah. Thank you.
That is fantastic. I mean, this is a topic that we've written about a whole bunch in kind of our PN articles over the year, is the ability and power of saying no. It is a very distasteful thing for a lot of folks, but it is a conversational skill that we need to practice to be able to say, hey, I actually can't do this thing. I can't make you this very elaborate cake because my boss has this deadline set for me and it's going to take me all week to do this cake. So unfortunately, I can't do the thing. Or fake it. That also works. No one's going to know sheet cake wasn't made by you. It doesn't matter. So finding those places to have those kind of creative outlets where I'm going to delegate some tasks. I'm going to also be able to say no to some tasks. These are no is definitely kind of the scarier one, in that
Hmm.
a lot of folks will be conflict avoidant, so something to consider there. But those are two conversations we likely should be having with clients to help them kind of free up some of that mental and physical space for them to do the things that they find valuable. And then, of course, the third kind of component there is making sure that whatever task that they would normally complete, or task that they want to engage in, fits within the time constraints that they have available during these spaces.
It's totally. And she did actually rock a full no on a wedding cake just a week or two ago. Her mom is in hospice and she's been running back and forth to Mexico, and she said, I can't do it. And everybody squawked, but you have to. You're the cake maker. And she said, I can't do it. I'll buy it, but I can't do it. And
Yeah, so
eventually that was good
that
enough.
is very kind
I'm
of
in
her.
agony. Yeah.
There are two health and fitness professionals that I want to call out here. So one of them is Josh Hillis. He posted something today regarding Thanksgiving that I think was it kind of spurred our conversation. So if you follow him on Instagram or you're unaware of him, he posts really useful PN related concepts on Instagram that I think is worth checking out if you have the opportunity. Uh, oh, got distracted by a dog. I did. Nope, and I'm back. And then the other one is Molly Galbraith from Girls Gone Strong. So Molly posted something years ago, and it's always stuck with me. In that, uh, a saying that a friend has, who is also a fellow coach, when someone approaches them to do a talk or to engage in coaching or something where it's like they just don't have the bandwidth for it, their saying is, "My plate is currently as full as I like it to be," which is a very interesting way of saying no, thank you, without having to further explain why you don't want to engage in that task or that opportunity. Uh, so feel free to share that one with your clients as well.
I love that.
Jeremy,
And
can you tell me the first? I follow Molly all the time, but who's the first guy? Josh
I think on Instagram it's Joshua Hillis.
Hillis, like Hillis ish.
Yep.
Okay, got great. Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of PN adjacent concepts for sure, and he just puts them in different ways that I find to be very useful for me to digest. So if you're currently studying your PN course, or you're looking for a way to explain those concepts to clients, this is uh, someone you're going to want to follow.
I have a kind of a related question.
Shoot.
We can pivot a bit. I have another client who insists almost at every turn, the beginning of every conversation, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And to me, I find it to be a bit of a negative vibe. And I also, I just think it's important to not be telling your body and your cells and yourself all day long how sorry you are. I just think it's really, really, um, what do I want to say? A diminishing habit. I'm fighting a bug, and I'm got my puppy caregiver. So um, not words aren't coming as normally they do, but yeah, it's depleting on a daily basis. And at first, this person said, "Oh, well, that's just who I am." And I said, "Well, really, is it? Are you apologetic all day for yourself? Do you?" And she's so sick. And I said, maybe this is part of it. Maybe would you
uh,
be interested in trying something different and see what happens?
so my first instinct there is, are you coaching a Canadian? And I was like, oh, this may be one of my neighbors that you're coaching here. But if you notice that, so I think it's worthwhile to call out these kinds of, we'll call it like a behavioral tick in the conversation that's occurring. So just pausing the conversation and ask, hey, I noticed that you apologized for like the last two or three things. What specifically are you apologizing for? Are you apologizing because you feel like you didn't hit it to a standard that is appropriate for you? You are apologizing for X, Y, and Z. Let's explore that a little bit more, because I think it's something that's interesting. It is worth a conversation, I think. I don't know if I would spend a whole bunch of time on it in every conversation. It's like, yeah, this may be just the same way that someone says
Mhm.
kind of like one of those kind of like crappy filler words. They just say I'm sorry, and it actually doesn't mean anything behind it. They're not actually apologetic to you or to the circumstance or to themselves or whatever. This is just their behavioral tick. So if that is the point, then, or if that is kind of where it ends, it's like cool, we explored it. I don't know if there's anything more to be done here. That's just kind of how they communicate. It may feel grating to you, but it's like,
Mhm.
oh, this is more a me thing. When I communicate with this person, that's kind of what it is. Like someone chewing with their mouth open. It's like it's not actually harming me, but I don't
Yes, it
enjoy it.
is.
I don't love it. Yeah, it's like that's kind of just what going to get a hummus with this person is like.
Oh my gosh, my sister used to get this little seam of milk in her mouth, and I just had to leave the room. I can't take it. She needs cereal. Um, yeah, I think it's also maybe I'm realizing as you're talking, maybe a cue saying, usually it's, oh, I'm sorry I didn't text you earlier. I'm sorry I didn't reach back sooner. And um, I always say, reach back when it's easy. This is, especially if it's a friend, do so when it's easy and comfortable. Um, and maybe they feel like I do that too much. Maybe I don't reach back. Maybe they're cueing me like you should be more um, timely in their, according to them.
I mean, it is certainly possible that they're just dropping hints for you. It's like, hey, this is behavior that I'm apologetic about, so maybe it's something they want you to be more concerned with. It's within the realm of possible. Uh,
Mhm.
if if you're feeling like there is some sort of lack of communication here or clarity of communication, then as a coach, communication is definitely within your skill set, and it's worth asking the question, hey, what specifically do you need from me in order to kind of hit our communication targets? That could be tracking specific data. It could be uh, like communicating at a certain time of day, being on time to certain meetings. Like I know that I have some clients where it's like in this conversation, they're probably going to show up about 2 to 3 minutes late, and they'll probably stay about 5 to 10 minutes late. I haven't communicated that this is an issue for me, and generally it isn't. I don't mind it. It's part of just who they are. In a large enough client roster, I have clients who are like always on time and they're finished within 15 to 20 minutes. So I get the time back. If I haven't communicated that this is an issue that irks me or is something that I feel like we need to fix,
Mhm.
then there's no real onus on them to change that thing. Or I shouldn't expect them to just automatically change it without my active participation.
Mhm. Interesting. I think it's something I used to do, and once I got out of the habit, I found it freeing. And maybe it's one of those things that once you conquer it, or even, or especially if you're still working on it, it can be um, gnawing and annoying, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's more just something I could point out, and then if it's not the ball that they catch, then that's okay.
Uh, thank you in the comments there. One thing I'll say is uh, quite often there are habits that we've kind of observed in ourselves or we've seen them in other places and we're very aware of them, but they may not be universally applicable to other folks. Uh, this is a conversation that I've had with myself before, in that asking how good is a friend. This actually became it was a podcast that I appeared on with a friend, and we did a conversation. And one of the final questions was, "How do you know that someone is a friend?" And the thing that I shared with them here is, uh, if you are someone that I care about, if I consider you a friend beyond kind of just casual acquaintance, uh, if there's something that you're doing that I think is either harming me or harming yourself or harming others, I will call you on it. Because as a coach and as a person, I tend to be a conflict avoidant person. I don't want to engage in that. If I can just leave the room, I'll just leave the room. There's no reason for me to engage in this behavior. But if you're someone that I truly care about, and I think that the thing that you're doing is either it's harming me, it's harming you, it may be actively harming other people, it's worth me saying, hey, let's have a conversation about this. And it's not because like I or it's it's hard to say because even right now, like as I'm thinking about like previous times I've done this, and I could feel my body just like activate all the stress hormones, go. Uh, but it is one of the markers that I've kind of set for myself where it's like, if you're someone that I care about, I will call you on your shit, is the most succinct way to say it. So even for client stuff, I don't consider every client a friend, but I have coached friends before. For clients, there's probably a little bit more leniency towards it. But if there's something where it's like, I need you to participate in a different uh, kind of manner because it's impacting our coaching relationship, it's on me that I have to call that out for you. If there's been a very clearly demonstrated pattern here where you're showing up late, where payments are late, it's got to be me that sets the foot down because, and I can't avoid it because it is stressful. One, it's not a great way to operate a business. Two, it's not a great way to just kind of move through the world where it's like, I just allow this thing to kind of like stress me out in small levels every time I see your name pop up. So
Thank you.
for this
Very
person
good.
who kind of, yeah, so for this person who's like overly apologetic seeming, you have an obligation, depending on like what your level of relationship with this person is and how much this is impacting you, to have that conversation. Uh, cool. We're coming up on time here. I'm just looking through the chat box real quick.
Yeah, I didn't understand that comment. I can't see. Is that Rhoda? I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, so Rhoda says it could also be cultural or due to socialization. In some cultures, sorry is supposed to be a comforting word. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think it typically has a feeling of kind of like removing discomfort from others. It can also be a word that also reduces threat, where it's like if you enter certain spaces, if you say I'm sorry, it's like consider kind of moving through like a busy subway system or moving through a busy mall during Christmas. Sorry, excuse me. Uh, if you just don't say anything and kind of keep brushing into people, that can be seen as a culturally insensitive or aggressive act. So this person may be trying to reduce kind of some threat or harm that they perceive to be giving to someone else. And you can let them know it's like, you didn't harm me. You don't need to apologize to me. It's fine.
I like that. I think um, that was the rub for me when somebody's saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get back to you." I think I heard, "You're needy. You need me to come back right away," and I don't want to be conveying that. Thank you. That helped.
Gotcha. Awesome. We have a few more minutes before we wrap up for today. Anything else that folks want to chat about?
I didn't think about it before, but that whole like Thanksgiving thing, like giving thanks, right? It's right in the name. So reminding clients of that. Sorry, Moki, stop. I have headphones, so maybe he's not as loud as he sounds to me. Yeah, just like, taking a moment to have gratitude, like, even for their journey so far, or just life in general, and for the family that they're going to spend time with. And, some grateful for that and some not grateful for that. Yeah, give thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an opportunity for folks to even zoom out from kind of the food and health specific behaviors and just say, hey, what are the things that went well from a non-health behavior standpoint? What are things that I'm pleased about? Uh, and starting a conversation with that post holidays often helps to kind of strengthen the relationship between coach and client, and then you can get into the meat and potatoes of things after that. Good call out, Vicky. Let's leave it here for today. Vicky, again, thank you for popping those names in the chat box. Feel free to go check out both Molly and Joshua, both very strong coaches. And then we will be back. Let me see if I can find it really quickly here. But
I didn't see the one for Joshua because I think I wasn't on yet.
If you search Joshua Hillis, he should come up.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. But we are back on Monday, December 2nd, and we'll chat then. Cheers, gang.